Illumination, the light within. There is a moment, quiet, subtle, when everything around us slows down. Time pauses. The noise of the world softens into the background. In that moment, something delicate arises from within. A stillness, a light, a knowing. This is the moment of illumination. Illumination, or Ishraq, means more than just light. It is the dawn of inner vision. It is not the light that falls upon objects from the outside, but the one that arises from within, casting its gentle glow over the landscape of the soul. Beyond the mind, beyond the senses. In our search for truth, we often turn to reason. We look for evidence, for logic, for certainty. Or we turn to experience, what we can touch, see, measure. But there is another way of knowing, a deeper, more intimate path. It is the path of direct perception, of spiritual insight. It is the path of illumination. This form of knowledge does not come from analyzing or comparing. It comes from presence. From silence. From being attuned to something that is always here, but rarely seen. A quiet radiance behind the veil of thoughts. The philosopher and mystic Shihab al-Din Suhrawardi, the founder of the Illuminationist tradition, taught that true knowledge is a kind of seeing. Not with the eyes of the body, but with the eyes of the heart. The light as reality. Suhrawardi believed that light is the foundation of all existence. Everything that is a degree of light, from the most radiant and pure to the most shadowed and dim, and at the center of all light is the light of lights, Nur al-Anwar, the source of being itself. To know something, in this view, is to be illuminated by it. We recognize truth not because we prove it, but because it shines within us. It resonates. Like hearing a note that is exactly in tune, and our whole being vibrates in response. This philosophy invites us to see reality as a play of light, and to realize that the light we seek is already within us. The path of illumination. The path of Ishraq is not a doctrine to believe in, it is a way of being. A discipline of the soul. It asks us to turn inward. To quiet the mind. To simplify our lives. And most importantly, to awaken our inner senses. It begins with stillness. We begin to observe our thoughts, rather than being swept away by them. We notice the world not as a collection of things, but as a presence. And then, something shifts. A layer falls away. And we see, not just with our eyes, but with our essence. This seeing is not dramatic. It is gentle, like the morning sun. It doesn't impose itself, it invites. And we respond not with argument, but with silence, the kind of silence that comes when something deeply true touches the heart. Moments of everyday illumination. Illumination is not confined to mystics or monks. It is woven into the fabric of everyday life if we are willing to notice. Perhaps it comes in the smile of a child when time feels suspended. Or in the hush of a quiet forest, where each leaf seems to shimmer with presence. Perhaps it comes while reading a poem, or hearing a line of music that suddenly opens the heart. These moments are gifts. They remind us that we are more than our worries. That beneath the surface of the everyday, there is something sacred, something bright, waiting to be seen. Illumination is not about escape. It is about presence. It's about being so fully here that the world reveals its hidden depth. And in that depth, we glimpse the eternal. The role of silence. To walk the path of illumination, we must make friends with silence. Not just the silence around us, but the silence within us, the space between thoughts, the stillness between breaths. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness without noise. It is the language of the soul, the medium through which light travels. When we become quiet inside, we begin to hear what has always been speaking, gently, patiently, from within. In silence, we do not search for meaning. We allow meaning to arise. We do not chase light, we open to it. And what we find there is not a conclusion, but a clarity. A knowing that doesn't need to explain itself. Suhrawardi and the philosophy of light. Suhrawardi was not only a philosopher, he was a visionary. He believed that reason alone is not enough to grasp the fullness of reality. He called for a philosophy of presence, where knowledge is not just about concepts, but about lived experience. In his writings, he described a hierarchy of lights, from the most subtle, divine light of lights, down through degrees of brightness to the material world. Every being, every soul, every thought is a ray of this light. And each of us carries within us a memory of that original light, a longing to return. This is the spiritual dimension of illumination. It is not just knowledge, but remembrance. To be illuminated is to remember who we are. To reconnect with the divine source from which we came. The contemporary soul and the call to illumination. In our modern lives, filled with constant stimulation, endless information, and ever-increasing speed, we often feel disconnected. Disconnected from ourselves, from others, from the world. But beneath this disconnection, there is still a light. Illumination is a return. A homecoming. It is the moment we realize we do not need more, we need less. Less noise. Less rush. Less distraction. So that we can hear again. See again. Feel again. And when we do, when we slow down and breathe, when we walk quietly, when we sit without needing to fix or achieve, something opens. A window. A presence. A quiet joy. Illumination does not demand great spiritual effort. It asks for sincerity. For simplicity. For the courage to pause. Living with illumination. To live an illuminated life is not to escape the world, but to see it differently. To walk through the same streets, but with new eyes. To speak with the same people, but with a deeper heart. It is to practice presence, not just in meditation, but in dishwashing and listening and waiting in line. Every moment becomes an opportunity to notice, what is shining here? What am I overlooking? What part of me is being called to awaken? This is not a path of perfection. It is a path of return. Again and again, we forget. And again, we remember. Each time, the light welcomes us back without judgment. Closing reflections, a light that never leaves. Illumination is not far. It is not hidden. It is as close as your breath, as present as your heartbeat. It is the essence of what you are, not something to find, but something to uncover. And though the world may pull us in 1,000 directions, the light remains. Patient. Gentle. Waiting for us to turn inward and notice. Let this be your reminder. You are already whole. You are already light. And when you slow down, when you listen, when you soften, that light will speak. And in that moment, everything will shine.